my baby says she wanna go down to Mexico. My name is Zach Day, and I'm from Hazelhurst, Mississippi.
How long did you move to Austin? How long ago was it?
I moved here about 3 months ago, I think, and yeah, I think that's right, 3 months ago, and I've been coming to play in Texas for like 5 or 6 years, but and I actually lived here for a while back, about 5 or 6 years ago. But I actually started my music career in Austin and kind of like legitimized my idea of being a musician, and then I went back to Mississippi and kind of put it to the test because I had friends that owned venues and so on, and so I was able to book shows, and so I started playing live in Mississippi and coming back and forth to Austin when I had a chance. And so after COVID, I was just like needing to do something different than what I'd been doing before, and man, all the roads for me, I had all sorts of different reasons to come to Austin. So
That van outside, do you travel much in that, bouncing around the country? Or
yeah, I have.
What's
the
like the
snow
wildest,
leopard, dude?
The snow leopard. What's the wildest place you've gone to in that thing?
Well, I took it on a tour for 2 months by myself, and so I stayed in there for 2 months. And then my girlfriend and I, she and her dad drove it to San Francisco and did like a long road trip on the way. And she stayed out there for a little while, and I was farming during COVID. And then when I got through farming in the fall last year, I flew to San Francisco, and we did a 3-week road trip and did all the national parks, like in California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, coming back. And so we stayed in New Mexico one night, and it got so cold that it froze the fucking antifreeze in my radiator. And so, because we use the 50/50 shit in Mississippi, that's all we've ever needed. And they were like, no, you got to have the concentrate, like the full whatever it is. So anyway, I had to put a new transmission in it on that trip. We had a couple
Hiccups along
setbacks,
the road.
but the snow leopard's never done me wrong.
Right on. What kind of guitar are you playing on?
This is a Taylor. I think it's a 210E is what it is. And I worked offshore for a while, and I decided to go back to college, and so I had some money. And this was back when eBay was still a thing. And I got on there and was bidding on guitars, and I won this one. And I went to check out, and I had won a Martin guitar too, and I didn't even know it. So luckily I had the money at the time. I bought them both and gave the Martin to my dad. But I've had this one probably since 2010 or so, and this is mainly my slide guitar.
Was music always around in your family growing up?
No, it wasn't. My dad played guitar a little bit, and I'm sure, I know that definitely had some. I remember watching him play and wanting to be able to do that too. But I also just was interested in it, and I love listening to it. But I didn't learn to play until I taught myself to play when I was almost 20. So I was kind of a late bloomer on music. But I basically started writing music right off the bat. So,
Right on.
I've been doing that ever since.
Who were some of your major influences that got you into music?
Hank Williams Sr. was one of them, and Willie Nelson, but then also like Otis Redding and Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and then everything in between, which to me would be like Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner, Creedence Clearwater, Neil Young, and Southern rock to me is the confluence of country and blues coming together.
Okay.
So I write a lot in that range somewhere in there.
Where do you feel like you get inspiration for songs? Is it like relationship stuff or just stuff you see out on the road?
It's probably everything, but I've become more of a storyteller songwriter than what I used to be. I like to paint a picture of a whole story beginning to end about whatever the subject is. And like the song Swamp Boy that I did today is kind of a story of this guy that lives in a swamp, and what he's dealing with, and which is stuff that is real that I've seen and witnessed myself in Mississippi. And so I kind of like to do that. I like to paint I like musicians that paint a picture in my mind, and so for me, that's what I try to do for other people when I write.
Heck yeah. Did you ever listen to that song "Legend of Woolly Swamp" by Charlie Daniels growing up? That's
Yes.
always reminds me of, like, every time I hear swamp in music, I'm like, that's the first song that comes to my head. I'm like, oh, damn, what a classic.
Yes, and I'd say that Leonard Skinner had a lot of swampy kind of stuff.
No doubt. Yeah, they're from Jacksonville. They probably experienced it. So after being here in Austin, playing only for a few months, what are some spots that you play at around town? Is there any like particular ones you frequent?
Yeah, the WTF Ice House, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Ice House, Armadillo Den. Trying to think what else in Austin. But I play a lot like out in Spicewood at Pootie's, in Fredericksburg, in Luckenbach, San Marcos. I try to. Everybody has their own strategy on what's best as far as doing live music, and for me, it's to move around and spread it out as much as I can. Plus, I get tired of playing the same places over and over and over. Some people stick to their group of places, and that's a different strategy. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I don't know what's right or wrong, but for me, it keeps it interesting to play new places and to go out and see new people and different types of people and so on.
Heck yeah. So what do you have coming up in the future? Are you working on any EPs or any releases?
No, not at the time. I did one back in 2017 that's online, and then I did an acoustic one right before COVID, and I released it right before COVID, so that didn't, nothing ever came of it. But at the moment, I'm really trying to get my band together, Zach Day and the Texas Horse Pirates.
All right.
That's our name. And so I'm trying to focus on that, and another goal I've had is to try to get an opening gig for somebody that's touring. To me, that seems like a good strategy, so I've been trying to work on that, making that happen.
Nice.
Who would that be if you had to choose?
Man, I don't care as long as they got shows booked, and I can go with them and get in front of a crowd that I know is going to be there. I can play around here, and some places you're going to have a built-in crowd and some you don't. So it always sucks to not play for anybody, even though that's part of the gig.
No doubt.
That's part of the gig, but it'd be nice to not have to worry about booking it. That's the worst part about being a musician, is booking shows, in my opinion. So if I could just knock out a whole bunch of shows with one stone, that'd be the easy way, the cheating way, but whatever, I'll take it if I can do it. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Well, I'll tell you another story about this guitar.
Heck yeah.
If you see right here, it says Charlene right there. It's also on my hand right here.
All right.
And then I have a Gibson named Darlene, and she's on my other hand.
Ah, nice.
So that's my women.
I like that.
Yeah.
What's the story you were talking earlier about meeting Keith, former
Keith Sanders.
Yeah, Keith Sanders, former performer on our show.
Yes. So I was trying to think how to start this, but when I first started playing music back in Mississippi, I was playing in Leland, Mississippi at a place called Vince's. And Keith's dad, Alfonso, is an excellent saxophone player. And so this place, like dinner time, was kind of fancy, and people would come and dress up and, sit down and have a nice meal. And so he would play a saxophone for him for a couple hours. And then as it the night went on, people would get drunk, and there was a bar, and then that's when I started playing. And so it was one of my very first shows, probably my second or third time to play in front of people. I had the sound equipment, and I was trying to get it all set up. I didn't know what I was doing, and he could tell. And so he got his shit out of the way, and he started helping me. And then I got out my Radio Shack microphone with a built-in, guitar jack cord on it. And he was like, "We can't have this." He's like, "We're going to do something about this." And he went to his car. He came back with a Shure 58 microphone, and he gave it to me with a cord, and I still use it to this day. So that's been probably 10 years ago or so, maybe a little less than 10 years ago. But fast forward to now, I'm moving here, and mine and Keith's mutual friend, Gambrell, is booking shows, and so he tells me to reach out to Keith about playing at something. So me and Keith are texting each other, and I found out that he's from Cleveland, and before long I figured out who his dad was, and his dad did a big favor for me that he didn't have to do, and so Keith is just as nice as his dad, so I'm a big fan of the Sanders family. I'm a big fan of them. And Keith is super talented.
Heck yeah, man.
I wish his dad would come down here and play some.
I'm talking to you, Alfonso.
Yeah, Alfonso, get down here, man.
Awesome, man. All right, so where can people find you online, and where can they find your music?
Yeah, well, I have stuff on Spotify and iTunes and all the digital sites, and then my website is zachdaymusic.net, and then couldn't get the .com, it was already taken. But also on Instagram it's ZachDayOfficial, and Facebook is ZachDayMusic. So one of those three, you can find it.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming by, man.
Thank y'all for having me, dude. It was awesome. It's a true story now. Well, I drove for oil out in the Gulf, I with the farms in the Delta. Search for joy, both high and low, but playing guitar is all I know. All I know. All I know. All I know.
Willie Nelson or Keith Richards?
Willie definitely looks better. I think he's older than Keith Richards already, isn't he?
I think so, by like a year or two, maybe. Willie's like
He
81.
definitely looks better.
So he's kind of.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I don't think Willie drinks much, so he may have that going for him.
True.
I don't know about Keith Richards. I would imagine he still
He's a
drinks.
vampire. All right. Well, it's just fun. We always ask some like bullshit questions at the end, but cool, man. Well, thanks again, dude.
Oh,
Awesome
thank
talking.
you, man.